Welcome to Museful Creations, where imagination comes to life. Hey, beautiful souls. In today's MuseFold debut, I'm turning a single envelope into a folio suitcase. Yep, no sewing, just hinges, valleys, and peaks to create a stunning heirloom style journal. Y para mis bellas almas que hablan español, prepárense para ver cómo un simple sobre se convierte en algo mágico. This one had quite the journey getting here. So I'm extra grateful you're watching today. Let's jump in. So I'm using a combination of Botánica Blanca pages and also from our new kit, Paper Relics. You're going to start with a 15 by 10 size envelope. You can use cardstock if you have those dimensions. You want to cut off the flap and do not throw it away. Hold on to it. You're going to fold the envelope in half. And next we will work on the exact scoring dimensions. Now, it's important to seal all those little flaps so that it's not kind of affecting the next step that will be taking place. Just don't apply too much glue because it will completely stick to the inside of your envelope and it will create quite the mess, okay? Now, I want to slow down this part of the tutorial a little bit because I want to make sure that you catch all the dimensions. You're going to place your middle fold on the 5-inch marker, and then you're going to score on your left. I know it's how I process and I think. So you're going to score basically 4.5 inch. Then you're going to score at 4 inches. Then you're going to score at 3.5 inches. And then you're going to score at 3 inches. And then again at 2.5 inches. Next, you're going to now use your scoring tool and score at 5.5 inches, then 6 inches, then 6.5 inches, then 7 inches, and then 7.5 inches. So it's a total of 10 score lines you'll need to make. Here you'll either use your liquid glue of choice or a glue stick. I'm choosing 3-in-1, and this part is also important because before you start making the peaks and the valleys, you want to make sure that you give some heft and strength to the hinges that we're going to be making. So be mindful of where you're going to apply the glue so that it doesn't spew over into those side pockets. Next, you're going to need your choice of double-sided tape, whether it's 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. I'm choosing a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to show you the importance of scoring every single line, and there's 10 of them. Take your time to do this because if you don't score this appropriately, it won't allow you to create those hinges. And I will fast forward this a tad. So here are the 3 hinges if you fold everything appropriately. And next I'm going to show you the placement of the double-sided tape. Now I'm removing the tape one at a time because it'll get persnickety if you remove all the strips of the backing on the double-sided tape, and here I'm showing you how the hinge will fall into place. Next, I will use a corner rounder, and I'm using the widest option. because it feels right to me. It's not necessary, just a tip to keep in mind. So this is where the MuseFold magic starts, according in style, no machine required. You're going to make the bottom spine, I'm calling it reinforcer. You're going to need to cut it at 1 7/8 inch by 10 1/8 inch. I did apply some Botánica Blanca digital paper, and I also distressed the edges. And this is where I chose to distress the entire folio, if you will. And now you're going to use your glue to adhere the hinges, kind of like the flat part, which I'm calling like the spine hinge situation, if you will, onto that spine reinforcer with your glue of choice or double-sided tape, if that's something that you prefer to use. Now, you're going to need 3 envelopes, and depending on how or what inserts you want to put in your folio journal, you'll need to make that decision. And I'm choosing to cut the flaps on the bottom, of course, to insert. And also, I'm showing you there that I'm cutting a slit on the top and on the side. And next, I've already layered the cardstock, not the cardstock, but the digitals that I'm using of the Botanica Blanca paper relics add-on kit number 3. And you do need to cut the sides a little bit, just a tad, and I'll show you like so. You don't want it to be too deep so that you're able to then make sure that they slip into those hinges, okay? This was truly a last minute creation, and I'm simply measuring I did this just by sight, uh, the flap. I knew I wanted to do something with the flap, but wasn't quite sure. And that's how it flows. You just, use what you have and try to create. And I'm just grateful that I was able to do that. So I roughly cut at like 10 and an eighth inch, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I do write the dimensions here just to show you. I wanted to keep this here because this is how I flow, and I'm hoping that I'm not the only one that does this, but it's important for you to see how I think and how I am creating. So it's about 2 inches by 10 and a quarter inch. Okay. Now, even though I said not to cover one side versus the other, I did end up covering both flaps. So here, what I decide to do is just measure enough and score so that I'm able to make that flap. Okay, so I did about 1.5 inches on the front flap, and then I turned it around and I think I scored, if I'm not mistaken, 1 inch, just to be exact. And now, before you apply the back page to the cover, you want to add that flap. And important that you're mindful and do snip those corners just a little bit so that it blends into the back. Here is the belt straps, if you will. I did back the page, and I'm kind of winging the scoring because it's totally up to you the width of how much you plan to add into your folio suitcase. But I want to share that there will be additional series to this first episode that we're working on today. So I'm looking forward to having you join me for that process as well. And if you're loving this build and want even more behind the scene ideas, exclusive digitals, and creative sketch pages, I'd love to have you join my Ko-Fi membership. It's where I will absolutely share deeper layers of my process, and you'll get early access to upcoming MuseFold and other add-ons. So thank you for joining me today, sweet crafty friend, in this adventure, which was not an easy one. I kid you not. I had a lot of unexpected tech tours last night and the day before. But if you felt inspired, I hope you'll like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep folding forward one flap at a time.